From Washington, the McLaughlin Group, the American original. For over 3 decades, the sharpest minds, best sources, hardest talk.
Issue 1, Town Hall Testosterone.
The second debate between President Obama and Governor Mitt Romney this past Tuesday drew a TV audience of 65.6 million viewers. The debate was at Hofstra University on Long Island in New York, town hall style. Testy, tense, and quite riveting throughout. Here's the president pressing Governor Romney on Romney's tax plan and how he'll do what he claims he will do.
If somebody came to you, Governor, with a plan that said, here, I want to spend $7 or $8 trillion, and we're going to pay for it, but we can't tell you until maybe after the election how we're going to do it, you wouldn't have taken such a sketchy deal. And neither should you, the American people, because the math doesn't add up.
When we're talking about math that doesn't add up, how about $4 trillion of deficits over the last 4 years? $5 trillion. That's math that doesn't add up. We have a president talking about someone's plan in a way that's completely foreign to what my real plan is. And then we have his own record, which is we have 4 consecutive years where he said when he was running for office he would cut the deficit in half. Instead, he's doubled it.
Mr. Romney also noted that under President Obama, the national debt has gone from $10 trillion to $16 trillion, as shown here by the continuously accruing national debt clock.
Question, are President Obama's debate performances damaging his brand? Pat Buchanan.
John, if Mitt Romney wins this election, the debate performances of Barack Obama will be responsible for his victory. In the first debate, Barack Obama was listless. He looked like he didn't even want to be president again. In the second debate, he depreciated his 2 most priceless assets. One is the dignity of the Oval Office, and the second is his likability. He came down out of that pulpit, that bully pulpit, TR called it, and got into a big brawl with Mitt Romney. And I think he depreciated those assets. On Romney's part, John, the debates have served one critical function. The country has seen him, and it has come to believe that the caricature of him created by the effective ads by the Obama campaign all during the summer, that he was this super rich guy, uncaring, cheating on his taxes, all this, is false. And so I'll tell you, history will say if Mitt Romney wins this election that he won it in the debates.
Eleanor.
Well, Pat is right to the extent that the Obama campaign, they're victims of their own success, because they did caricature Romney over the summer, and all he had to do was show up and to seem sort of reasonable, and a lot of that caricature was wiped away. But to say that the president damaged his brand, who started the brawl the other night? The president was supposed to not fight back. I thought the president acquitted himself very well in the second debate. I think he stopped the bleeding that occurred after the first debate, and I certainly would agree that the first debate was a disaster for the president. He has acknowledged that and said that he was rested and ready for the second debate because of that nice long nap he had in the first debate in the jokes at the Al Smith dinner. So I think we've got a very close race here. I think the president still maintains a small but apparently durable lead in the 3 states that will get him to 271, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Iowa.
Michelle, let me give you this tracking poll by Gallup. In the 2 days following the debate, Gallup's daily tracking poll of likely voters shows Romney rising from 50 to 52%, and Obama falling from 46 to 45%. What's significant about that poll?
Well, I mean, the fact that the polls are changing to Governor Romney's favor, even after that debate performance on Monday, and it's interesting to listen to Pat and Eleanor speak, because I think when you talk about how people actually viewed the candidates, this is exactly the problem that both candidates have. I think white males looked at Mitt Romney's performance in the last 2 debates and saw something completely different than most people, than African Americans, Latinos, and women saw it. So you didn't see, I think you don't see a lot of people thinking, for example, that Barack Obama depreciated the presidency. They were happy, they saw him as a leader, and they felt that he was finally showing leadership skills during that last debate performance. So it is interesting to see that Mitt Romney's numbers are ticking up. But if you look at favorability ratings, his numbers are still not good.
Mort.
Look, I think the debates really have been the pivotal moments in this entire campaign, and the first debate was pivotal, A, because Obama, unfortunately, did not do well, to put it mildly, but more importantly, from Mitt Romney's point of view, he came across as being presidential. He came across as being knowledgeable. He came across as being articulate, logical, so I think he transformed his image to a lot of people.
Mitt Romney?
Yeah, Mitt Romney.
I thought he came across as being incredibly rude
No,
and disrespectful of the presidency. The first debate.
Yeah, that's just the first debate. In the second debate, if I may say so, if there's one person who really, in a sense, unbalanced the way the two of them were speaking, it was Candy Crowley.
Oh, please, she was doing her job.
I'm sorry, you have a version of her job. I have a different version of her job.
I have a
as far as I'm
journalist view.
concerned, no, I don't think it was the right. She was a moderator of the panel. She wasn't to be a journalist in the sense of taking sides in the debate, which is what I felt. But having said that, okay, I think in a sense Obama clearly, the president clearly did better. He was a lot more forceful, but he may have been too forceful. I felt that the issue of likability was really important. I thought that's what Joe Biden lost when in his debate because of the way he handled it, where he was, as everything was a laugh for him.
Every focus group shows that the voters are concerned that President Obama isn't tough enough. He needed to show backbone. He needed to rally his base, and he certainly did that in the second debate. And Joe Biden did that as well. Excuse me, I want to finish here. And the debates, I agree with Mort, they are. You don't need to smirk at me, Mort. The debates are very.
I was smirking at me.
Okay, good. Well, the debates are very critical in this internet age. These face-to-face counters are really important. Otherwise, we might have had Governor Rick Perry as the Republican.
John, let me talk. Hold on, John. Let me make a point.
All right, go ahead.
Biden and Obama both did rally their base. Biden in the second, President in the second debate, Biden, but by rallying their base, just like Republicans in their primaries rally their base, they damage themselves in the center and among women. Look at how Mitt Romney has moved among women in these two debates and how the president and Biden have reduced.
Yeah, we're going to get right into that now. Another tender trap, equality for women.
I mentioned 3.5 million women more now in poverty than 4 years ago. What we can do to help young women and women of all ages is to have a strong economy. They brought us whole binders full of women. I was proud of the fact that after I staffed my cabinet and my senior staff, that the University of New York in Albany did a survey of all 50 states and concluded that mine had more women in senior leadership positions than any other state in America.
The first bill I signed was something called the Lilly Ledbetter Bill. And this is named after this amazing woman who had been doing the same job as a man for years, found out that she was getting paid less, and the Supreme Court said that she couldn't bring suit because she should have found out about it earlier. She had no way of finding out about it. So we fixed that.
Question, Mitt Romney's binders full of women, the equivalent in this debate of the big bird in the first debate. A line Obama supporters will leap to lampoon, but a really trivial pursuit. What do you think, Michelle?
I don't think it's trivial at all. Look, Mitt, that statement was incredibly clumsy and stupid. Republican brand and the damage that has been done to the Republican brand, the Republican Party's brand over the last year in terms of people talking about women putting aspirin between their legs for contraception. A state legislator in Wisconsin saying that one could argue that money is more important to men. And all of you are laughing. It's not funny. That money is more important to men than it is to women. It is a very serious problem. But you know why I believe Mitt Romney's numbers have climbed since the debate because of, not because of his statement, but people on the left have made the mistake of saying that any conservative woman who votes for Mitt Romney is stupid. And you are seeing red state feminists who are rising up and saying, I'm not stupid because I'm a Republican.
Michelle, Pat was laughing at you. I wasn't laughing.
I know you were not laughing. I was looking at them.
Can we get a male view in here, Joe?
No, we can't.
She was not laughing. Pat was laughing. You were mildly laughing.
He was laughing his head off.
All right, let's go, Let's go, Ellen.
I was listening in good temper.
The Romney campaign has an ad up, which is actually a good ad, of a former Obama voter who says she looked into these charges that Romney is extreme on abortion, and she discovered that he accepts exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. And Mitt Romney is trying to have it both ways on the abortion issue. He wants women and moderates to think he's the moderate Massachusetts governor. He wants everybody to forget what he said during the primaries when he said he would sign a personhood amendment and when he supported the Blunt amendment on Capitol Hill.
But let's get back to Lilly Ledbetter, okay?
Yes, let's get back to Lilly Ledbetter.
Let Eleanor finish, Pat. What are you doing? Interrupting the women on this
it.
panel?
Being a troglodyte.
Quickly.
Mitt Romney does not support the Lilly Ledbetter, and I know you're giggling about Lilly Ledbetter as well, but a lot of women know who she is and what it stands for, and equal pay is a huge
John,
issue.
You have seen on this panel, I mean, excuse me, semi-hysteria over this issue. The feminists are running after this. Mitt intended nothing wrong. He has a terrific record up there. He was given a binder. They said, well, they gave him the binder. The feminists are chasing this thing like some rabbit, and you're losing. You're losing
provably, he did populate his cabinet when he was Massachusetts governor with women. Okay, getting personal.
Any investments I have over the last 8 years have been managed by a blind trust. And I understand they do include investments outside the United States, including in Chinese companies. Mr. President, have you looked at your pension? Have you looked at your pension?
You know, I don't look at my pension. It's not as big as yours, so it doesn't take as long.
Let me give you some advice. Look at your pension. You also have investments in Chinese companies. You also have investments outside the United States.
Question, why can President Obama afford to be blasé about his pension? Michelle Bernard.
I actually thought it was funny, and he could be blasé about it because his pension is not nearly as large as Mitt Romney's. I mean, I think that was the point that he was trying to make, and it probably did very well with his base if they were watching.
Well, at 51, he thinks it's a long way in the future as well.
Yeah.
But I thought the exchange was a funny exchange.
It was just funny, yeah.
But it does point up the hypocrisy on Romney's part about China. He's this big tough guy on the campaign trail about China, but he's investing in China at Bain and Company. He did a lot of work with China. So.
Well, wait a minute, Mort. Do you have investments in China?
Absolutely.
You do?
Oh, yeah. No, I sell magazines in China. We got at least 8 people who subscribe to the magazine.
How come they didn't bail out your magazine? You're only now on the net.
That's right.
You.
That's right.
Newsweek. Can you imagine that? Newsweek is going to be exclusively on the net.
The Chinese do
no printed edition.
Yes,
the Chinese
but it's so much easier to reach millions on the net.
The Chinese do not bail out magazines or newspapers. The only thing that bails out magazines and newspapers are advertising. And advertising has basically drifted away from print products, and that's why they have to go on the web.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
You want Romney to do anything about that when he becomes
No,
president?
I do not. He's got a lot of other issues that are a lot more important, and I hope he follows them, and one of them, I might
let's
add.
not underestimate
and the most important one
of
is
the
the
printed
economy.
newspaper and the printed magazine.
But there's a serious issue here,
That's
and both these candidates are getting very tough on the Chinese, on their exports and stuff.
That's right.
And they're roughing up relations with the Chinese. Frankly, this is a consequence of the whole globalization. That's why you've lost all those factories in Ohio.
You think Time
and
magazine
Michigan.
is going to be next?
Oh,
No, John.
all digital?
No,
Is your
let
pension
me answer on that.
portfolio China free, John?
Issue 2, Benghazi bruiser.
The day following the assassination of a United States ambassador, the first time that's happened since 1979, when we have 4 Americans killed there, when apparently we didn't know what happened, that the president, the day after that happened, flies to Las Vegas for a political fundraiser, then the next day to Colorado for another event, another political event.
The day after the attack, Governor, I stood in the Rose Garden and I told the American people and the world that we are going to find out exactly what happened, that this was an act of terror, and I also said that we're going to hunt down those who committed this crime. And then a few days later, I was there greeting the caskets coming into Andrews Air Force Base and grieving with the families. And the suggestion that anybody in my team, whether the Secretary of State, our UN ambassador, anybody on my team would play politics or mislead when we've lost 4 of our own, Governor, is offensive.
I think it's interesting the president just said something which is that on the day after the attack, he went to the Rose Garden and said that this was an act of terror.
That's what I said.
You said in the Rose Garden, the day after the attack, it was an act of terror. It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
I want to make sure we get that for the record, because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder,
Candy? He did call it an act of terror. It did as well take 2 weeks or so for the whole idea of there being a riot out there about this tape to come out. You're correct about that.
The administration indicated that this was a reaction to a video and was a spontaneous reaction.
They did.
It took them a long time to say this was a terrorist act by a terrorist group. And to suggest, am I incorrect in that regard? On Sunday, your secretary, the ambassador to the United Nations, one of the Sunday television shows, and spoke about how this was a spontaneous reaction.
I'm happy to have a longer conversation about foreign policy.
I hope this doesn't muddy up the waters, but the CIA station chief in Libya reported to Washington within 24 hours of last month's deadly attack on the U.S. consulate that there was evidence it was carried out by militants, not a spontaneous mob, upset about an American-made video ridiculing Islam's Prophet Muhammad. U.S. officials told that to the Associated Press that came out Friday noon by the AP. Now, where is this settling down?
Here's what Romney messed it up terribly. The day after the attack, in a generic statement, the president talked about acts of terror. He didn't say Benghazi was an act of terror. Not only the CIA reported that, Fox News the day after said intelligence guys say it's an act of terrorism. Yet 2 days later, Carney goes out and tells the press spontaneous
in
protest.
The airplane.
Carney went out and told the press, whether it was in the White House, whatever it was, and 5 days later, Susan Rice goes out on 5 television shows with a script saying this is a result of a spontaneous protest. It was not pre-planned and not premeditated. The president said, we didn't mislead anybody. They did mislead the country. The question is, did they deceive the country, or was the intelligence so bad, did not get to the top guys, but it did not get out to the country? So it was utter incompetence or deceit and deception.
Is it criminal?
No.
It is not criminal.
No, they lied. They may have lied. We don't know. I don't think Susan Rice did. I think she was sent out. I think Carney was sent out.
There's no legal rap here.
They were used. They were used.
Not.
There will be an opportunity for a longer discussion about this in the foreign policy debate on Monday. The president said, let's have a longer conversation. Secondly, Romney did blow it in the debate. There was an opportunity there. Maybe he could have made the case, as egregious as it is, that you just made in a short amount of time. But what are you trying to claim here? That there's some sort of a cover-up? That's what you're cover-up of what and for what reason? Susan Rice can point to the intelligence.
It's a cover-up to keep his reputation as the great terrorist killer. No acts of terrorism on my watch. Al-Qaeda's on the run.
The enigma is Susan Rice not knowing anything about it. In fact, testifying to the contrary.
If you would have the grace to play what she said, she conditioned her remarks. She said, "This is what we know at this time."
Yeah, which was totally erroneous.
So she
wasn't
totally erroneous. She was.
What did Susan Rice know, and when did she know it?
Ask Hillary Clinton. She talks about the fog of war and when things are unfolding on the ground, and as the events became clearer, the administration developed a fuller story. Maybe they should have said right off the bat, we don't think it's related to the film, but embassies were aflame in many places because of the film, and so there was a kind of a natural tendency, I think, to link it. But in the end, what have you got here? What have you got here?
You've got deception. That's what you have.
For what reason? For what reason? There's no motive.
We don't know, but the bottom line is, if you just look at the sequence that we just looked at during the debate, Mitt Romney made a colossal mistake, and he is fighting tooth and nail for the presidency, and he gave the president the opportunity to demonstrate to the entire country that he is the commander-in-chief. When you talk about that image of him greeting the caskets and saying very strongly that the acts of terrorism are not going to happen on my watch,
why is the key point Eleanor raises. Look, Al-Qaeda, the president said, is on the run, on the path to defeat. It is all over the Middle East now. It is in Mali. It is in Libya. It is in Syria. It is in Iraq. it is in Saudi Arabia, it is in Pakistan. It is far more, the cancer has metastasized.
These are Al-Qaeda inspired people, if you will. Nobody
They got an area the size of
nobody is
France and Mali.
claiming that this president or any president can stamp out all of the rage that exists in the world. And the Republicans are going to.
And Osama bin Laden is gone. All of a sudden, neocons think that that doesn't matter.
Republicans are going to pay a price if they try to
There's been an overstatement of what they have accomplished in dealing with Al-Qaeda, and we all know it. It's all over the place, as Pat said. You follow any of the real intelligence reports now from many countries, and they will tell you that. So that's the only thing that's being said. And what Susan Rice said, if I may say, was misleading. Now, maybe she didn't know it. Maybe nobody knew it.
She
but
not
it wasn't.
know it?
I'm not going to answer that question because I don't have an answer to that question.
Why would she
I don't
go
think
out
she
and
lied.
deliberately mislead? It makes
there's
no
nothing to
sense.
gain
That's
from
under
it.
the direction of the White House.
Yeah, but I don't think she lied,
The
John.
White
I
House
think
isn't going to send her out there with a story
Why
that's
did they
false
send her
that they
out
would
with a
then know
false-
would
you-
that shows
be revealed as
incompetence
false?
on part of the intelligence
How could-
community.
how
If they
could-
didn't know
What
5
about
days later.
what
No,
about
she-
Hillary?
All right, why didn't Hillary go out? Susan Rice is not in the chain
Hillary's
of command.
answers have
That's
been
her
perfect,
ambassador. That's her ambassador and the president's ambassador. Why did she
Perfect,
not go
but there
out
is a
and put out
cutoff
this
point
story?
in what
Not
she
just
has to
the
say.
President's ambassador. She's his closest advisor and friend when it comes to foreign policy.
Right.
So she's beyond being a normal
why
ambassador.
didn't she go
and
on
she's a
those
lovely-
5 TV
Well,
she's
this
lovely-
is a
Hey, I don't disagree with you because it doesn't. The answers of the administration do not fit as far
This
as
is a
I'm
hunt
concerned.
for conspiracies, though, when in fact people acting sort of with the knowledge that they thought
You're a
they
journalist,
had.
Eleanor. Look behind all this.
I look
president-
behind, but I don't look behind and invent corners and invent dots to be connected.
On Tuesday, the president said that the situation is spiraling out of our control. And yet, in the light of that, she goes out there and says that she said what she said in front of the UN, which obviously contradicts what he said.
Right.
How could she go out and say that?
I don't know what it doesn't make sense. I can't fit the pieces together.
He didn't say Benghazi was an act of terrorism.
No.
What she said was not inconsistent with what
He
the
said it
president
was
said.
an act of terror.
Somebody fed that woman, Susan Rice, this line, and I think they've damaged her
There
very
was no-
badly, and I'm not
Right,
sure
but
she's
she
at
said
fault.
there was a mob and there was a big conflict
Protest,
and there was
not
a fray.
pre-planned.
Nothing was there. There was
Nothing
no mob. There was
premeditated.
none of that violence.
Issue 3, post-debate polling.
A CNN poll taken after the debate questioned 457 adults, 33% self-identified Republicans, 33% self-identified Democrats, and 33% self-identified independents. The poll was conducted on the telephone. Question: which candidate would better handle the economy in general? Governor Romney, 58%. President Obama, 40%. Healthcare, who would better handle it? Romney, 49%. Obama, 46%. Taxes, Romney, 51%. Obama, 44%. The federal budget deficit, Romney, 59%. Obama, 36%. Foreign policy, Obama, 49%. Romney, 47%. Despite these numbers heavily favoring Governor Romney, on the broad question of who won the debate, President Obama was the overall winner, 46% compared to Governor Romney, 39%.
What do you make of those numbers?
Well, I mean, I think the debates, first place, are defining now. They're definitive in terms of who's going to win the election, in my judgment. And whatever else you want to say, Romney did manage to resuscitate his campaign, particularly in the first debate. I agree. I thought the debate was for Obama was much better in the second debate. We'll see what happens in the third debate. But it has certainly established Romney as a credible president or a possible president. He was presidential in both of those debates. And without that, he was done for, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, how about those categories that Romney clearly won?
No, listen, I think, as I have always believed, that the economy is the dominant issue in this campaign. The economy is very bad. The unemployment numbers are terrible. And ultimately, I think that will determine the outcome of the election. And that's why I still think Romney will eke it out.
Well, that shows the impact of the first debate where Romney did resuscitate himself, because he was leading in all those categories on the economy and healthcare before. I mean, that was his whole claim. Those were his credentials to be president. And the fact that President Obama close that gap is what led to everybody writing off Romney. And the reason Romney didn't win this debate, Obama still comes out ahead, has to do with likability and trust. And I think this is where Romney pays the price for not having really formed any kind of bond with the American people, not having done the biographical stuff earlier on. I don't know whether there's time for him to do it in the last 2 weeks, but I think the American people still look at him as somewhat of a mystery.
John, look, ask yourself, if we were hiring a guy to be Secretary of the Treasury or head of the Federal Reserve or head of the Economic Policy Council, and you had the resume of Mitt Romney there with Harvard Business and the resume of Barack Obama, no doubt we'd all hire Mitt Romney. The question, though, is who do you want for President of the United States? Mitt overwhelmingly is considered far more able in the area of the economy. As Mort says, that may be crucial. But Barack Obama is still regarded as President of the United States. Now, I think, contra my friend over here, I think one of his problems is Barack Obama has not given the country a vision of where he wants to take us in the next 4 years that's going to be different from the last 2 years, which have been a dismal deadlock.
I agree with Pat's last statement in the sense that the president has to tell us what his vision for the future of the country is and how he's going to get us there. In terms of this CNN poll, the one thing that Barack Obama has for him is that even if people think that Mitt Romney might be better for the economy, Barack Obama is so likable. He will always do better than Mitt Romney on likability. And contrary to what Mort says, I agree the economy is an absolute shambles. But again, the path to 270 electoral votes, it is much stronger for Barack Obama on demographics than it is for Mitt Romney on the economy.
What do you think of Obama's electrifying performance in the first debate?
Well, I tell you, I think he was absolutely abysmal in the first debate. And I think the reasons that we see the polling the way we do now is because he had an enormous deficit that he had to make up.
Fast, 2 weeks from Tuesday, who's going to win?
Who wins Ohio wins.
President Obama.
Obama.
Obama can't keep his job when so many people have lost theirs.
Romney, bye-bye.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.